So BJ, here with Texas Red Dirt Roads. You're playing here tonight in Magnolia Motorlounge.
Yeah.
This is how many times you've done this now?
I lost track. This has to be at least 11 or 12.
11 or 12.
We've been here a minute. Since the place opened up, we started playing here. So.
Yeah, right on. And the last time I saw you was in Steamboat Springs, Colorado at the Chief Theater. You played about a 2-hour set.
Yeah, for the Music Fest, yeah.
Yeah, it was a solo show, and you guys had a bunch of full band sets at the Big Ten and a couple other spots. It's been almost a week, exactly, or a little bit more since, and you have been terrorizing the state of Texas, Oklahoma, and God knows where else.
Yeah, I've had one day off so far in 2018. I've had a show every day except for 2 days ago. I finally had a day off in Austin, and I slept all day. I ate tacos all day. It was a good day off. But yeah, when we're out here, we try to stay busy, and that means playing every night. Fort Worth on a Wednesday night. We look at it as an opportunity. I'd rather be playing than have a night off. There's nothing worse than being on the road, being away from family.
Sure, especially when you've got a child on the way.
Yeah, I got a wife and I got a kid coming at home, and there's nothing worse than being away from them and not playing a show. So days off for me are I take them when I need them, but for the most part, I'd rather be playing shows. And the boys feel the same way. They'd rather be playing shows every night.
Absolutely.
We're not out here for our health anymore. If we're going to be at work, we'd rather be working.
Right on, man. Okay, so the baseline of what I want to talk about really today is the new record.
Yeah.
You brought up a little bit at the Chief. The fact that John Fullbright produced it with you. All stuff related to that, because you also did a couple tracks at the Chief Theater, which were one was about Tough.
Yeah, Tough Folks. Tough Folk was the name of that song.
I was hoping that was the title of it. I was just like, well, that seems like the bottom line in the chorus.
Yeah, I'm real lazy when it comes to naming songs. So whichever word you hear the most is usually the title of the song. I'm super lazy when it comes to that.
So how did you? So the new record. I mean, I heard a couple songs, but what's the title of the new record?
Things Change.
Absolutely.
Things Change is the name of the new record. It's pretty. On a lot of cases, it's kind of obvious. I write very chronological, very autobiographical records, and so every record serves as almost like a 2.5-year snapshot of where I've been since the last record. And since we recorded our last record, Wolves, in 2014, a lot of things have changed for me personally. I got married, I got sober, I had an entire band quit, I had an entire band join me on the road. We had a presidential election, and I'm going to be having a kid in April.
Oh, wow.
So since the last record, like, my life has done a complete positive change. A lot of good things have happened. And so I had a pretty deep well to draw from for this new record. So every song on that record, there's at least one song about everything I just listed, about the changes that I've went through in the last year.
Yeah, you named them.
Yeah.
You went over them at the Chief Theater initially. I mean, within the first 10 minutes, you basically said this album is all the songs in the last 7 albums.
Yeah.
The last 10 years are autobiographical, very chronological, basically like picking up small pieces wherever I've been. It's almost like yearbooks.
Yeah, that's the way I look at records, is almost like a yearbook. Like, just like if you pick up a yearbook from your high school, sometimes you'd be like, man, what the hell was I wearing? Like, why did I do that? But then there's some things where it brings back positive memories, and that's the good songs. That's the songs that you write that have lasted 10 years, 12 years. There's still songs off those first couple records that I still love playing, just because they still mean something to me. And so with this new record, it's just about documenting where I've been in the last 2 years. And it's had its ups and downs, but I came out on the other side pretty good. Like I said, it was dark there for a minute. When you have an entire band quit on you, those were the longest relationships of my life. Some of those relationships were 8-9 year relationships, longer than I've been with my wife. So when all those guys quit at once, that was probably the darkest it got. Just because I had no idea what I was going to do. I had no idea if the band was going to keep going, if I was going to keep writing songs. Because when they quit, we were at a dark time as a band. It was tumultuous. I was not creative at all. Every day felt like work. It didn't feel like fun. It didn't feel like something I would love doing anymore.
Yeah,
and I'm sure that's why they quit as well, because I'm sure they had that same feeling of like, this isn't fun anymore. And when it stops being fun, that's when my creative well completely dried up. And then as soon as I got these guys on board, I wrote an entire record within 2 or 3 weeks.
Yeah, you said that. You said you went from a creative wasteland
Yeah.
of nothing to something to be happy about again.
Yeah, I had something to like believe in again. I had something to write about. I was re-inspired. And these guys bring such a sense of urgency and youth and just excitement.
Sure.
Because a lot of these guys, you know, a few of the guys are from Texas. They're young. And they haven't really left Texas.
No.
So the first time we went to New York and the first time we went to Boston and Philly and D.C. a couple months ago, watching their face light up, it was like my first time again. It was like, holy like, we do have a cool job. Like, this is fun. And these guys have really brought out the best in me. Because I was at a low point. I was just jaded. I was a cynic. And these guys have made me believe in my songs again, which is a good thing.
So would you say that this new album coming out, which by the way, when are you going to release?
May 4th. It comes out May 4th.
May the 4th be with you.
May the 4th be with you, yeah.
So would you say that it's kind of like a mixture of excitement for the future and, you know, I'm putting down what I feel as a note for the guys that I'm no longer with?
For sure. It's a very hopeful record. It's the most positive record I've ever written. Usually my records dwell on a lot of the negativity. This focuses on a lot of the positivity. And there's a couple songs for the old guys.
Like When We Were Younger Men.
Yeah.
I love it. It talks about the deeps and darks and the sorrows, but the happy times too.
Yeah, it's about losing your best friends. And hoping that one day they can look back and realize why you were friends in the first place. No matter what junction of your life you're at, you might not speak to them anymore now, but I hope that a year from now, 5 years from now, 10 years from now, all those guys can look back and say, we had fun. There was a moment in time where we were all having fun, and it worked, and it was good, and we did something really cool together. I hope.
No, and it sounds like it. And from my perspective, if the album, the music, the art that you're creating, whatever you want to call it, platform, if it doesn't reach multiple people on multiple different levels where they can relate to it, it might not be what you were trying to say, but if they can't feel something out of it,
exactly,
then it's nothing.
Yeah, for me, and I think that's why this band's had so much success, is I write extremely honest songs. I talk about the elephant in the room that nobody wants to talk about. I like to explore those dark corners. So much of pop radio wants to talk about how great it is to be in the South and in a redneck, and Friday night and cold beer and Saturday night and let's go to a show and have a good time. I like to talk about like the really like dark, desolate times of being a Southerner, growing up poor.
Especially in a tobacco.
Yeah, I grew up in a tiny little tobacco town, so it's like I didn't know I was poor growing up, you know, until I went to college because my parents worked their ass off.
Remind me, that's Reedsville, North Carolina?
Reedsville, North Carolina. Yeah, it's my parents worked really hard to make me not realize that we weren't well off.
So in turn, because of that, do you think your music portrays the hard work ethic, blue collar work ethic that you got?
100%. My dad. I think that's the one thing my dad's really proud of. My dad doesn't understand me playing music for a living. Like, I come from a very blue collar family where you work a day, you get an honest day's wage. That's how you make a living. You do it until you die. The fact that I get to travel around and play songs for people blows my dad's mind. But one thing I think that he can respect about my job is that he instilled something in me, and it was that work ethic. It was, I always joke around, I can't out-sing people, I can't out-write people, but I can outwork people. That's the one thing I can control is how hard I work. And, you know, for years we were doing 300 shows a year, and nobody's ever going to call me lazy. And if I make a career out of this forever, everybody's going to look back and say, he worked for it, he earned it. He may not have been the best, but he worked for it.
There's a time when Brandon Ryder was doing like 280, 300 shows a year.
Yeah.
You had to stop. You had to slow down a little bit.
You have to.
If you don't, it's like your feet won't catch up with you and your neck's going to go the other direction. And your wife now is going to be like, where the hell, what?
She's been really great. My wife is, I wouldn't be here without her. She is the most understanding, independent woman I've ever met in my life. When she met me, I was doing this full bore. I was in the middle of 300 days a year. And so when she got on the ride, she understood, like, this is what I'm signing up for. But as I get older, I want to be home more, and especially with us having a daughter coming in April, I want to be there for that. I don't want to miss the first steps. I don't want to miss the first words. I want to be there for that. And I think my fans understand that. I think my fans have grown up with me.
Sure.
I think a lot of our fans that started listening to me as a 20-year-old were 20-year-olds themselves. And now we're at that point, we're in our mid-30s. And like the record says, things change. Like, my outlook on life has changed in the last couple of years, and my priorities have changed. I used to be, I will play 365 shows a year if I have to, if that's what it takes to make it. And now I'm like, I'm going to play enough shows to be comfortable, and I'm going to be home with my family. And that's become the most important thing to me. So.
Well, interestingly enough, that's almost like the mindset of a lawyer. You almost went to law school.
Yeah.
I mean, you know, you had pre-law, you were at NC State, you wrote a song, Wolves, it was based off one guy's one-liner to ESPN, and you went on blue collar ethic.
Yeah.
Out of all this that's happened, what made you want to work with John Fullbright?
Oh, John's been a buddy for years. But before that, I was just a fan of his songs. John's, hands down, I'll argue, song for song, he's one of the best songwriters in the country right now. There's not many people that can write as good as John Fullbright. And the way he performs the songs, his voice, the way he emotes, it's truly spectacular. I feel very fortunate to call him a friend and a contemporary. So I approached him and I was like, hey man, we want to do a record in Tulsa. We want to do it with you. What do you think? And he's like, I would love it. And so we both of us have pretty busy schedules, so we carved out a 10-day period in December. Me and the boys went to Tulsa. He was off for a little bit, and we holed up in a studio for 10 days and made a record. And I'm really, really excited about what we created together.
That's awesome. Okay, so this is something I ask everybody. I've been asking this question since when I started off using an iPad before I had all this random crazy ass.
Oh yeah, you got the gear, man.
You see it. So if there was, one word or phrase you would utilize to describe your experience thus far, or you as a musician trying to get your words across,
Yeah.
what would that be?
Honest. I read a quote when I first started writing songs. Write what you know. Don't try to be somebody you're not. Don't try. I always joke with people, I don't have the jawline for pop country music. I ain't pretty enough to be on the radio. Those guys other people write those songs for them, and they get up there and they sing them, and it entertains people. But it's not honest. It doesn't come from a real place. I want people to listen to my music and not question who wrote it. I want them to be like, there's no way that dude didn't write it.
That's BJ Barham.
That's BJ Barham. Like, there's no way he didn't write that. I want it to be honest. Above all else, I want my songs to resonate with people, and there be this kind of rawness to the songs that make people feel slightly uncomfortable. That's how I know I'm doing my job right, when somebody listens to a song and feels an emotion. Like, whether it's like you see a grown man start crying in the audience, like, that's how I know I've hit my mark, is knowing that I've tapped something that somebody maybe was trying to avoid. When I can make people feel raw human emotion, that's when I feel like I'm at my best. And that's what I hope these new songs do. They make me feel that way. So I'm hoping it translates to other people.
Okay, well, hey.
Dude.
Thank you.
Thanks for talking to me, man.
Absolutely.
For sure.